What's going on, everybody? Welcome into an at-home edition of the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. My name is Joey Petersen, and when we're making videos from home, we know it's either good news or it's bad news. Fortunately for all of us today, this is good news, as the Ravens made a trade just on the eve of the NFL trade deadline. The Baltimore Ravens are sending the Tennessee Titans a conditional fifth-round pick for 2026 for outside linebacker Dre'Mont Jones. Primarily has been an edge rusher this season, but the cool thing about Jones is that he originally came into the National Football League and played that interior spot on the defensive line. So you got a little bit of positional versatility for a team that, let's just be honest with ourselves, they need a little bit positional versatility. They could use a guy who could be on the edge and who could be on the exterior as well. We're going to break down the trade. We're going to break down the player. We're going to break down the trade deadline all on today's show. Don't go anywhere, but make sure you subscribe. Like I said, anytime we get breaking news, we get you a video as quickly as possible. I was on a walk with my wife, with my dog, and the news broke, so I spread it home and hopped on the computer. Anyway, if you haven't joined us yet, make sure to do that today. So the Baltimore Ravens finally make a trade, and this is a trade, guys, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm pretty excited about. And we knew that something was going to happen at some point, just given the fact that the Baltimore Ravens had 12 draft picks, 5 of them being in the 5th round. They also traded away Jair Alexander. That opened up $2 million in cap space, which then added to make their total cap space $16 million. So we could tell and we knew that something was going to happen, and I'm happy that something did, because I said in my video that I put out just a couple hours ago, look, if they don't do something, I'm going to be pretty dang upset, because something is needed. Given the injuries on the interior of the defensive line, given how the exterior, how the edge rushers have played this season, and trading away Dafe Owe, you just don't have much at all. In fact, Dre'Mont Jones has 4.5 sacks in his last 4 games. So you're getting him at the peak of his career, the best he's played in his career. 4.5 sacks on the season, but all of those came in the last 4 games. He has 19 quarterback pressures, 7 more than any other Raven currently has. So he comes in here and he is automatically the leading pressure getter for this Ravens front four, for this Ravens defensive line. I think there's a lot of upside when it comes to Dre'Mont Jones. He's 28 years old, so he's still young, got some years left in him on his career. He's not going to be that expensive. He didn't cost you that much to trade for anyway. Like when you just think about trading away a 4th-round pick for him, or a conditional 5th-round pick for him, that's not going to be much at all. He's on a 1-year, $8.5 million deal. So his base salary this year, is $1.9 million. So you're going to have to pay only half of that base plus the per-game roster bonuses. It's not going to be that much. It doesn't cost you that much. Sure, it might just end up being, 8-game rental? Guess what? I don't necessarily care that much. I think you need somebody like this, okay? I think you need a player that could come in here and could have a really high ceiling and help this defense finally get a couple of pressures, and that's exactly what Dre'Mont Jones can do. Is he going to play on Sunday against Minnesota? Maybe. I don't know. It's Monday. He'll be in Baltimore tonight, probably going to be at practice tomorrow. Does that mean I think he's playing? Time will tell. We'll see how quickly he can get kind of affiliated with the Baltimore Ravens system and affiliated with Zach Orr and kind of the way things are ran around here. I'd be shocked if he played on Sunday against Minnesota, but other than that, you will have him for the rest of this year, okay? Another guy that you can lean on. Look, Mike Green, I was really, really proud of how he's played over the past couple of games. He's definitely stepped up, gotten a sack and a half in the last 2 games after going his first 2 games where he got a lot of snaps and he got 0 pressures, okay? That was against Los Angeles. That was against Houston. But then he had that big sack against Chicago. He had the half sack this past weekend Thursday Night Football against the Miami Dolphins. And so I like where he's progressing. Kyle Van Noy, we know what Kyle Van Noy is. He's a great player, but he's not getting any younger. He's 34 years old. He's only getting older by the day. And then other than that, you got David Ajabo. You got Carl Lawson. Like, you needed this, guys. I'm sorry, but you did. This was a necessary move, and I think it was a good one made by Eric DeCosta. Now, do I think they're done? I don't. okay? And I'm going to tell you exactly why I think that in just a little bit. But before, I got to give you a word from today's sponsor. It is our friends over at Prize Picks. And this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Lamar Jackson's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. Follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Guys, I love Prize Picks because it is so easy. All you do is pick more on or less on 2 to 3 player stat projections, 2 to 6 player stat projections, and that's it. Simple. My wife plays it. My almost 6-year-old dad plays it. If my dog had thumbs, she would play it too, and I think you should. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Okay, let's talk about what else might be coming down the pike. Okay, today's video, the one we put out earlier, and that's going to be in the comments. It's also on the channel right now, talked about interior defensive line prospects. And I think that's maybe where you need to go next, either there or with interior offensive linemen. When I talk interior defensive linemen, there's a couple of big ones that come to mind. Obviously, the Quinnen Williams and the Jeffrey Simmons. I don't know if you're going to take that big of a swing now that you've dealt a 5th rounder. That feels like, I don't know. I don't think this is a big, massive blockbuster move, but I do think it's a good move, but I don't know what that means for going forward for Eric DeCosta, what he's going to be willing to give up. I think that Calais Campbell wouldn't cost you much. I think he'd fit right in with the system, and even though he's 39 years old, I think he'd still be a really, really good football player. If you want to look at the offense side of the ball, if you want to look on the interior of the offensive line, I think we got to talk about Kevin Zeitler. I know you just traded with the Tennessee Titans, so I don't know if you're going to trade again with the Tennessee Titans. They might have just, put it in that same deal. You added a couple things onto that, yada, yada, yada. But if you want to go get Kevin Zeitler, we know that he's being made available by the Tennessee Titans, and I think that would be a no-brainer, okay? Kevin Zeitler would fit perfectly in this offensive line. He's already been here, and I don't think you should have let him walk in the first place just a couple of years ago when he got signed away in free agency by the Detroit Lions, okay? You have an interior offensive line problem. You've got a Daniel Faalele problem. You've got an Andrew Voorhees problem. Kevin Zeitler can fit right in, be plug and play, and then after a couple of weeks, if Voorhees or Faalele is still struggling wherever you want to put them, if they're still not getting it done, then you know what you do? You just promote Emory Jones. Bang. That is your new interior offensive guard. So now you have Zeitler, you have Jones. That's to pair with Linderbaum, Stanley, and of course Roger Rosengarten as well. I'm interested to see what happens with Mark Andrews over the next, 18 hours or so, 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's when the deadline is. My gut right now tells me he's not getting traded, okay? Now, maybe a team like Denver gets desperate because we know for a fact David Njoku's not going to get dealt by the Cleveland Browns. And other than Mark Andrews, there's not a ton of great tight end options on the market right now, and we know Denver is looking for a tight end. So could they get desperate? Could they cough up something they haven't been willing to cough up for Mark Andrews before? Yeah. Maybe. That's certainly a possibility. But I do not think this Dre'Mont Jones move is the final move the Ravens are going to make, okay? I think you got one more in the chamber if you're Eric DeCosta. I think you're still working the phones, and I think you're trying to find out what fits best with this team. Jeff Zreback tweeted out just a couple of minutes ago, the Ravens were in on a number of edge rushers, and they'll land Jones. So we know that they were talking to a number of teams. And I don't think they're going to stop talking, okay? You got 20 hours until this deadline's over. See what you can add on top of this. But for right now, the move that you just made with Dre'Mont Jones, I'm really, really excited about it, okay? Sunday against the Chargers, he had 1.5 sacks, 4 tackles, 4 quarterback hits. He's playing really, really good ball right now, and I cannot wait to see how he fits in with the Ravens. Make sure you subscribe. Reminder, we're going to be live, me engaged, tomorrow for the NFL trade deadline. We're going to be live at 1 p.m. Eastern time all the way up to the deadline's over at 4. We're going to just be chopping it up. If any trades come in, we'll break them down. We'll talk about them. So make sure you're hanging out with us. And if we were the first person you saw this news from, you got to hit that sub button. And we'll see you next time.